Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Armio, and this is part of my 29 Days of Magic series, where I interview a Black woman a day for the entire month of Black History Month. Today, I am so delighted to have Trish Lindo, who's the Senior Career Manager over at LinkedIn, one of my favorite platforms. It's going to be a great conversation. Take a listen. Hey, Trish.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, interviewing lots of Black women every single day, usually.
Oh my God. Well, you are definitely inspiring me, and I know that you're inspired by all these conversations that you're having as well. So thank you for having me.
Of course. It definitely is such a delight to get to speak to so many dope Black women multiple times a day as I build out this entire army of you as
Yeah.
part of this month-long initiative.
Yeah.
So, as you know, the podcast stays the same with the question that
Mhm.
everyone has to answer first when they come on the show. And I'm always hilarious, like stunned and laugh at the answers. I'm sure yours would be no different. So, Trish, what was your first job?
Oh my gosh. First job.
Anything you want. It can be, high school, college, whatever.
Okay. All right. I love that range. Okay. So my first job, I wasn't allowed to have a job actually while I was in high school. My parents were all about getting good grades. So, and they're also West Indian. So it was none of that. You're not going to work. Yeah. They're like, you're not going to work until I tell you can work. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So my first job actually was when I got to university, and I was working at the Gap in the mall. So I was folding jeans and saying, how can I help you? You know, what's your fit? What would you like to wear today? So that was my first job. It was retail at the mall.
Oh, wow. So you know how to do the perfect fold of a sweater, don't you?
I do know how to do a perfect fold. Now, obviously, even though I do know how to do it, Laura,
Do you
doesn't
actually
quite.
do that?
No, I don't. It doesn't translate to my home life. That's the problem.
Yeah, because we're like, not so much. I don't want to do it. Okay,
I
fine.
don't want to do that. Yeah. So, but I do. I still know how to do it. So I feel good about that.
Yes, you should feel good about your skills of being able to fold cross left, cross right, and then fold up. If not,
There you go.
it makes excellent sense. So, I'm sure that you had a really interesting journey to go from being excellent at folding at the Gap
Right.
to LinkedIn. So, I'd love for you to share your career journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my journey started when I moved to Los Angeles from the East Coast. I grew up in South Florida, and I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. So, part of that was sort of asking a lot of people who were at the time working in New York in the entertainment industry. One of my friends, it was like a friend of a friend who worked at MTV in New York. And I said, well, I definitely want to work in entertainment. And they told me, if you want to work in entertainment, it's either New York or LA. And they said, but I suggest LA, it's definitely warmer. Um, Coming from Florida, I was like, I'll sign up for that because I don't think I could handle New York winters. So I headed out to LA. I did not have a job. I had $400 to my name, and I just was going to make it happen. I ended up working as a PA. My first job was a production assistant in LA, which was a lot of running around, making copies, getting coffee, and just kind of waiting for an opportunity. And I ended up going to a networking event in LA that someone shared with me, and it was for entertainment television.
Oh.
So yeah, it was pretty great because I didn't really know what to expect. I was still very young, and I was like, I'm not even sure how to network. What am I supposed to wear? What am I supposed to do? And I went and I met at the time, she was the head of HR. So she was facilitating the event, and I shared with her how excited I am to work at E, and I know everything about celebrities, and I would be the best fit to work for her company. And she called me like a week later, or and said, hey, we have this one position open on our live events team as a production assistant. And I was like, this is amazing. I'll take it. And I didn't know much about anything. So it was a great opportunity to learn. I ended up working on the Golden Globes, the Oscars, movie awards.
All that red carpet photos with Ryan Seacrest and Juliana.
Yes, I was that was my world. Yes, that was my world, working with Ryan Seacrest and everything for a very long time, and helping to come up with questions, and sometimes as a PA, even though you're not seen on camera, you're standing like you're kneeling down on the red carpet right next to the talent, and you're handing them cards of information they need to know. And if they don't know somebody, that was my job to say, oh, that's so-and-so. They got nominated for one Golden Globe and they just did, so that was my thing. But it was a lot of fun. I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I went freelance. What I noticed actually at a very young age was that I wasn't getting the opportunities to move up as quickly as I would like. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I didn't know what that was. I just figured, you just don't have enough talent or skill yet. But what I did was I took a bet on myself and I went freelance. And that was actually a very good move for me at the time. I ended up freelancing at CNN here in Los Angeles, and as an entertainment producer. We had an entertainment division at CNN here in LA. So still doing the same thing, but for CNN, which was amazing. It's CNN, so you're on the red carpet, and I was asking celebrities questions. So the world of celebrity was my world for a very long time, doing junkets as well. And I ended up freelancing for Reuters, MTV, you name it. I've pretty much have worked there at one time or another. TV Guide. I was all over the place, just kind of hustling, just kind of getting my name out there and sort of really pushing myself forward, developing my skills, making sure that I could basically stay in the game, because as time went on, a lot of my counterparts who were white were getting bigger opportunities. So I just kind of kept working harder and harder. I was fortunate enough to work at TV Guide for a couple of years, and I wanted to kind of make a change. I didn't know what that change was, but I needed to kind of switch things up a little bit. And I took an opportunity at the Monique show in Atlanta. And I hadn't worked in talk show before. So I was like, how can I do this without the experience? But I was fortunate enough that a friend of mine worked on the show and she vouched for me. And that's how I ended up working with, Oscar winner Monique, on her show in Atlanta. So I left LA, went to Atlanta, was there for a year, worked on the Monique show. That was awesome. Really great experience, learned a lot. And came back to LA after a year and was very fortunate to segue into digital media. At the time, digital media was sort of just kind of picking up. They were looking for a lot of people with skills in digital media. Were you able to produce? Could you write? Can you work with talent? And I was very excited for the opportunity to work at Yahoo in Santa Monica. And that's where my career in digital kind of took me. So from there, I stayed for a couple of years there and moved on to working for Maker Studios at the time. They had just gotten bought by Disney. And I got brought in there because, which was actually pretty interesting, my friend who worked at Yahoo was at Maker Studios. And he said, I reached out to you because you're a Black woman with natural hair. And I have a bunch of creators right now who are Black women with natural hair. They all are very successful. We don't have anyone who can speak to this group of women. And I think you'd be perfect for it. And I'm like, yes, God, of course. So, kudos to him for having that, foresight. And I ended up working with, Naturally Ever After, and who she has, she's gone on to become even bigger than what she is. She has her own like hair line and everything like that. So a lot of these women were just kind of kicking off their careers in a big way. So that was kind of my first experience working with creators. And that was a really good experience, which kind of set me up for what I do now. And I ended up leaving there and went from there to OWN. So I ended up working for Oprah Winfrey Network. At the time, the Oprah, well, not Oprah the person, but Oprah's team was looking to completely revamp Oprah.com. And they needed somebody to come in and work on that. So I was part of that relaunch team for Oprah.com. I worked with so many amazing and inspiring creators, Ian Van Zandt and Brene Brown, and all of the thought leaders in the spiritual space at the time, which was pretty awesome. And that also helped me get on my wellness journey as well. It really sort of helped me to center myself. And from there, I got an opportunity to work at BuzzFeed. I was brought in to work on one of their newest brands, which was their health and wellness brand, Goodful. And I started off my career there. I was there for about 3 years, and I ended up making the shift over to Tasty, which is the largest digital food brand, which is crazy, I know. So I worked on Tasty, and I was managing the talent there for their YouTube channel, TikTok, and Instagram, and approving all the content that goes up on Tasty, working with celebrities like Bad Bunny, and even actors and actresses who were promoting their films. That was part of my world, where I was coming up with the creative ideas for them to work with Tasty, because they all love Tasty. So that was a lot of fun. And I still keep in touch with a lot of those folks, a lot of that team there. And yes, I made the transition over to LinkedIn because I wanted to work with creators, or continue my work working with creators. So I'm part of this new and exciting team that we're just about 7 or 8 months old. And we work with creators on the LinkedIn platform and help them to grow outside their network and build, and help them to grow their economic wealth in a really big way.
Wow, girl, how many lives have you lived? I mean,
I've lived several lives, Laura, several.
you're only 25.
I am only 25. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's clever. So, I mean, I don't even know where to. All right. So back up the shop for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So you worked on the Monique show and the Ryan Seacrest.
Yes.
I can't think of two people more opposite ends of the spectrum. What are
I
some
know.
of your favorite memories from working with either of them?
Yeah, I think that when you're working with celebrities, what I realize is that, and I know everybody says this, but they're just like everybody else. They really are. I think working with Ryan and all the other on-air talent who were on camera, were all very laid back and fun and cool to work with. And I learned a lot from them. I know that was Juliana DePandy as well during that time. And they're all just like really chill and really cool to work with. Working with Monique was the first time I can say that I had a Black woman as boss and somebody Black. So I was like, this is great. It was on BET. So it was, majority of the production crew were all Black, which I hadn't had that experience as of yet, working in entertainment in LA. So for me, it was really exciting. I mean, the chance to work with everyone who had come from so many different spaces. Working with Monique, I think, was really great. She was always very kind. And, one thing I liked about her as well was that she was very diligent in how she approached her interviews with her guests. And she always made sure she did her research, and it was never off the cuff, but she was always on top of it. And, once we chatted with her to prep her for her guests, she's like, okay, just give me the highlights and anything else I need to know. We'd share that with her. And then, the thing about working with celebrities is that you have to give them their space to be great. Basically, it's not about you. It's about, how can I help this person continue to be great, basically. So I want to make sure that all my research is on point. I want to make sure all my facts and figures are on point, because this person is basically going to share that in front of, potentially millions of people. So you want to make sure you're on top of that. So those are some of the things that I've learned so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, one of the reasons I really wanted you on the show, because I want you to talk about the importance of LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Explain to people why it's a necessary thing to use and to utilize, and it's actually brilliant for thought leadership and all the things.
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn is a must-have. How you have all those must-have lists. LinkedIn is a must-have on your career growth and your growth as a business person or someone who works in an industry that you can have meaningful conversations with everyone on the platform. You cannot. I don't think it's fair to say if you meet somebody and they say they don't have a LinkedIn, it's kind of like, how is that possible? How do you not have a LinkedIn? You have to have a LinkedIn. And the reason why it's important to have is not only is it about, finding the right jobs or, like, hey, I just landed a new role, I'm super excited. It's about creating community and building your network. And all of that you can apply to your career as a whole. You can use it to build not only your personal brand, but your company as well. So if you are not sharing, your authentic voice on LinkedIn and connecting with people in a real way, you're completely missing out. To be quite, you're missing out. I share with people, even my friends. I tell them as much as I can. I'm sure they're over it, but whatever. You need to be posting on LinkedIn. You must share your thought leadership. You must add your voice to the collective and continue to build your community. Super important. Super important. And it's so easy to do, right? You need to make sure that you have an up-to-date profile image on your profile. You need to make sure that your profile is up to date with some of the things that you are working on currently, so that if somebody does land on your platform, and sometimes it's about, not only about like, oh, this could be an opportunity that grows my business or anything like that, but a lot of people at like various digital platforms and not only companies are looking for people and members on LinkedIn to participate, let's say in ad campaigns, or to even, have a conversation with or interview them about something. So if you're not sort of lending your voice to this space on LinkedIn, you're potentially missing out on really big opportunities that can inevitably lead you to economic wealth or larger economic wealth.
And I think that's the real key here. Is like, this is all about up-leveling yourself.
Yes.
Helping you get that next project, job, connection.
Yes.
And the platform affords you that opportunity.
Absolutely. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy working at LinkedIn, is that I get to have these conversations with, creators to basically share how important this platform is and why it's important for them to share their perspectives on certain things. You can be your authentic self. I don't know another way that, you can do that. Sure, there's other, social platforms, but this one for building your business and for being great, it's LinkedIn all the way.
and not forgetting it all. Like,
Yeah.
um, what are some good tips for folks that you have when it comes to sort of helping kind of build their thought leadership and kind of create a profile on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So what you want to do when you start off, and I'm just going to, basically pretend that you're just kind of starting your LinkedIn profile, but you want to make sure that you complete your profile overall. So you want to make sure that, your picture is up to date. You want to make sure your profile is up to date. And you want to post content on there regularly, every day. And when I say every day, I mean like 5 days a week, whatever that is for you. Some people do, Sunday to Thursday or something like that, but you want to post regularly. The other thing that I share is to be fearless, in posting your content. I know that, a lot of people get scared. They're like, oh, it's LinkedIn and I don't know if I can like share that. And I'm like, absolutely share that. Our world has changed so much in the last 2 years or so, and LinkedIn has evolved and changed with it. So we want you to be your authentic self. We want you to share, what you're feeling and how you think about, a certain topic, or maybe you are an expert in a certain area. We want you to share that. It's really not about just sort of posting and sharing about, your biggest wins. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, it's not, but we want people to be their authentic selves. So I share with people, everything that you have in your drafts, your videos and your texts, post that you're like, I don't know, go ahead and post it. Just hit post. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to build community in a way that, can basically potentially change your life in a really great way.
Yeah, I mean, I have benefited from this, a lot in terms of, I wasn't a big poster on LinkedIn until I want to say like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And all through the pandemic, it was actually a thing that I was doing because I needed something to do. And
Right.
posting articles, it was articles that I was writing to kind of get out of my own funk and kind of show a different kind of point of view. And it's been great for my personal brand. It's led to lots of really great speaking opportunities and project opportunities and different things that come my way. So it doesn't have to be something that you do every single day, as long as you
Mhm.
put out the stuff that's actually relevant to
Absolutely.
what you do.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree, and I know that everybody, has jobs and they're busy with their families and have, robust companies that keeps them busy. But, sometimes people don't even think of themselves as a creator, but everybody who creates content on a regular basis is a creator, so you shouldn't feel nervous about it. I understand why there is nerves behind it, but you already have all the information right in your head, everything that you talk about, things that you share, and that can mean anything. I mean, people post about wellness ideas, people share about tech, people share like, hey, I'm really getting into NFTs, and they're sharing about that. Here's what you need to do. Here's what I found out, so you can feel free to sort of be yourself, because it is a platform that, as my teammate Callie says, LinkedIn is a platform of generosity. So we're here to support you. We're here to root for you, to basically continue to be great.
Awesome. And thank you so much for sharing that. This isn't an ad for LinkedIn. It's just that, like, look, in the world we live in today, this is how you do it. And it's about connecting with people in places where your next job project connection could be. And so it's really important that you do this. That's just the bottom line. That's the way that it
Yeah,
works. And the world's changed and how we connect with each other and how we do different kinds of projects all have drastically changed over the years. So we've got to be mindful of how we can utilize these platforms to our own benefits. Uh,
absolutely.
one of the things, you obviously had a really remarkable career. So I would love if you would give some little advice to the 21-year-old Trish.
21-year-old Trish. 21-year-old Trish was very hell bent at the time in doing everything right. and not ruffling any feathers and not making waves, if you will. So if I could tell 21-year-old Trish, I would tell her to take more chances, take bigger risks. Um, and don't be scared. I remember being scared, as you are at 21, to be honest. But if I could do it over again, which, obviously is pie in the sky, if you will, but I would say take more risk. I think in your 20s, that's when you are supposed to take those big leaps and take those challenges, take the job overseas, try something new, um, you know, color outside the lines. That is what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, not just in your 20s, but to be honest, throughout your life is taking those risks that are basically going to push you forward as a human being. And I think even as a Black woman, I think some of us have been taught to be, the good girl, and to be, I come from a very conservative sort of, buttoned up type of family. Love them to death. Hi, mom and dad. But, I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things,
Mhm. Been
um,
there, done that.
yeah, exactly. So what does that teach you as you get out there in the world? You're a little bit like, well, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know, but it took me a while to find my voice and to find my courage to basically live the life that I wanted to live and live it on my own terms, and to be really fearless. I say yes to a lot of things more so than I say no. And obviously it needs to make sense, but I don't sort of question when things happen for me. I know when I was younger, I definitely was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't think this is a good time. I did a really good job of talking myself out of a lot of things. And yeah, I would definitely share to be fearless and to take bigger risks.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think, look, as a child of West Indian parents, it's like,
Yep.
the gift and the curse that is having the upbringing of having West Indian parents. Um, on the one hand, unbelievably focused and educationally focused, which is great.
Right.
On the other hand, you end up being quite conservative about certain things, and so you don't end up experiencing everything, which is why I do it all now. 'Cause,
Yeah.
but also, like, I think it's interesting. Like, I think you come to a point where you're like, no, I'm just gonna go nuts about this. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is, yeah, you're right. It is a gift that our parents have given you. My parents, I'm Jamaican, and my mom, yeah, she kind of raised me to, yeah, she kind of raised me to not be as fearless as I am today. So, I'm grateful for everything. But yeah, as I've gotten older, you definitely kind of have more of an understanding of the world at large, and where you fit in. So you have to make adjustments, and plus, as we know, you have to live your life on your own terms anyway, right? So yeah.
what's interesting? I think it's funny. Like, I'm Jamaican too. My parents are both Jamaican, and I think
Hey,
a rice and peas and African saltfish. Um,
now.
uh, but what's interesting? I think that, like, I do say that there's, like, the gift and the curse behind it is, like, as I've got older, I appreciate what they were trying to do. And when I look at where my life is now, I don't think I'd have this life I have had it not been for that earlier, more
Yeah.
conservative. Like, I think I needed to learn a little bit more and take my time a little bit more, so that when I got to this point, I was actually okay, and I was actually in a good space. I think
Yes.
it allowed me to, like, as much as it, like, we were fearful when we were younger, because obviously, like, we have to do this, you have to do this. But I
Right.
think in turn, as you grow, you end up, like, doing so much that it ends up making you fearless, because
Absolutely.
you recognize, like, your parents, like, came to a new country at a young age, and, like, tried to make and went to go make it work. And you realize that, like, if they can do that, I can kind of do anything.
So
Um,
true.
And that's a realization that I know I made in the last couple of years. And I was like, no, really, they totally, like, not what they said, but what they did. Like, their actions of taking that step, that leap,
Mhm.
so that I wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I can take that step and that leap now because it feels right, and I'm making the choice to do it versus feeling like I had no other alternative.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think you're right. I mean, if I'm thinking about even like when I was in my 20s and living in Los Angeles, like my God, thank God that, that fear of God was instilled in me. Cause yeah, I didn't get involved in a lot of things,
You didn't
which
run
is
down the
good.
streets, right? You didn't like you were in these places. You're like, you know what? I can manage this, but I'm not about to do stupid foolishness. Like,
Right,
there's like
right.
a piece of it that came in handy, so you didn't.
Exactly. I know.
Um,
I was always thinking like, what would my parents think? I can't be here. I gotta
I
go.
gotta leave. I can't be
I
here.
gotta go.
Nope. Nope. No, no, ma'am. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Taking that, I'll be on my way now. But I think it ends up putting, but it gives you this opportunity to kind of be in these different spaces and places. And when you're in those spaces and places, we feel it. It's like, yeah, you're on the red carpet with Ryan Seacrest. You're dealing with Monique. You're dealing with all these up and down celebrities and influencers and creators. Like,
Yeah.
there is a fearlessness that is instilled in you that you're able to do that. And I think that, it is something really unique about when you look upon like sacrifices that parents make for your kids.
Yeah.
Um,
1000%.
so, thinking about, sacrifices and work and all that, obviously you're a busy woman. So what does Trish do for self-care?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Self-care for me is I stay at home. I stay at home, Laura. You know, don't
That I
need to be everywhere. I don't. I am grateful and fortunate that I do get invited to a lot of things. Even in the middle of this panorama, I do still get invited to things and people are like, hey, I'm doing this. You want to come over? You want to do this? And, I just got to a place in my life where I'm like, nah, I'm good on that. I'm just going to stay at home. I like it here, you know? So I do that because it helps me to sort of let go and focus on my thoughts. And, I use that time to meditate. I use that time to write in my gratitude journal. Now, I'm not saying that I do that every day. I could be better. I could be. But those are the things that I do. I also like to look for new shows on all the platforms that we all pay several $1,000s a year for. Um,
I love how it used to be, oh, I'm gonna just like get one and I'll be a cord cutter, blah, blah,
right,
blah. Please. How many
right.
services are we all now paying for? Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Hulu, Netflix,
Oh my God, so
Peacock,
many. It's insane.
HBO Max, Showtime Anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
Amazon Video, the amount of stuff.
It's unbelievable. But yes, I watch all those platforms and I'm always looking for interesting shows that inspire me, entertain me. As somebody who comes from a background in television production and media production in general, I do have an affinity for it. I do love great cinematography and a great story. And I'm always like, that's a really good script. Like, I can see this. This is amazing. So those things bring me joy. The other thing that I do is I do post a lot on my Instagram. I'm a content creator. I take photos around Los Angeles. My friends take my pictures. I don't have a professional photographer. And I also enjoy taking pictures of people as well. So I take pictures with some of my influencer friends who are like, hey, can you take pictures of me over the weekend? I've got like 4 outfits. I'm like, yes. So I have my camera, I go out, and that's fun for me. I don't charge them for that. And I know that's, people are like, you can totally monetize that. Why don't you charge people? And for me, I just got to a point where I was like, this is something for me. This is something that I enjoy doing. I don't need to monetize this. And I'm grateful that I am in this place where, that's not like my only source of income. But I wanted something that was just for fun, just something that I enjoyed, that I wasn't getting paid for, just a pure, just sweet delight of just doing something I love. That's it. That's all I wanted. And so when I do that on the weekends, that brings me a lot of joy. And my friends know that, and they reach out like, hey, would you be down to take pictures? I'm like, absolutely. So I love it. So those are kind of some of the ways that I kind of take care of myself.
Wow. I like that. I mean, yeah, I definitely am. As much as I like to go out, I am very much like, I just want to home and watch TV.
Exactly.
There's so much good TV on right now.
So much, and I love it. I love it. I'm always taking recommendations. Tell me everything.
I want to watch it all.
Yes.
So, last question for you. Do you have a give and an ask of the audience?
Let's see. My give is, I'll tell you this. My gift will be, if any of your listeners want to learn more about the LinkedIn Creator Management Program, they can definitely message me. It's just under my name, Trish Lindo, LinkedIn. So yeah, definitely reach out to me if you want to learn more about the Creator Program. I work with entrepreneurs and women of color. Doesn't mean that I don't work with men as well. But yeah, if you have any questions and you're like, hey, I'm trying to, up my game on LinkedIn, definitely reach out. I'm happy to help. I'm definitely a person who loves to help people and make sure that they're good, because I know sometimes this life is not easy for us, any of us really. So anytime that I can help, I'm happy to do so. So yeah, I'm here for you. So
Awesome.
yeah, so
Taking
that is,
all the gems. I love it. Oh, it was so great to have you on the show. And we'll drop all of your details in the show notes for us to connect with you,
yes.
follow you on all the social medias and all the good stuff. And thank you so much for being part of 29 Days of Magic.
Absolutely. Laura, this has been amazing. And I'm so grateful that I'm part of this incredible campaign. I feel like it should kind of go on all year, but I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to. I'm not gonna put that on you because I know you're a very busy woman. So, but this was really good for my spirit, and it brought me a lot of joy connecting with you. I'm inspired by you, and hope that this conversation inspires other women to live their joy and to be present and to be grateful for all the things that life has to offer and will come for them.
Awesome. That's a beautiful way to end the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
that is our show.